Hello, everybody. Today I want to talk about the 6 indicators of a real estate crash. My name is Hani Faraj. I work with eXp Realty, and today I want to tell you how to recognize if a real estate crash is heading your way or to your market. The number one thing is it's tougher to obtain funding or mortgage. That usually shows up in a form of increased interest rates, tougher mortgage qualifications, or outright freezing of lending. We've seen that in the 2008 in the States. We've seen that here in Canada with lending institutions making it tougher, or the pre-qualification rate isn't actually like, so let's say your supposed interest rate is 3%, they're actually qualifying you at 5%. Whenever CMHC or the government did that, it usually kind of at least try to put a little bit of brakes on the market. So that's number one. And trust me, I've looked at the whole world globally. That was the biggest driver of killing a certain real estate market. That's usually number one. So whenever that happens, it's harder to get funding for a mortgage. Usually what that does, that signals to buyers that there's something going on, and a lot of buyers get off the market. They stop buying, which does the second thing is decreased demand. That's usually the second thing. So if there's decreased demand, that's a sign that something is happening, and that means that might crash might be coming. Okay. The number three thing is a massive increase in what we call housing starts. Perfect example of this in 2014, down in North Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. In 2014, they had the OCP, the official community plan for Lonsdale, had increased, and there was a bunch of massive buildings being built. A lot of older 1970s buildings got converted into medium rises and stuff like that, and there was thousands of new condos being dumped into the market. And what it does, it increase a bunch of new, inventory into the market, which slowed down the growth of condos for a long time until recently. Recently, now the market is pretty robust with condos or whatever. But that's usually what happens. There's a lot of housing starts. That's why in BC you'll see a lot of builders, they don't do too much at once. They might buy a lot of sites, but they do one at a time because they don't want to depress their other projects in terms of demand. They don't want to do that. Okay. Number four, the reason why crash might be coming is if you have a monetary policy that affects people buying, but it does it in such a way through taxation. So a lot of governments, what they do is if they want to influence society to do whatever they want, like you see that with like cigarette tax. Whenever that happened, now there's a lot less smokers out there. Well, guess what? At least in Canada, in our local municipalities in Vancouver and other municipalities, what they've done, the government says, oh, you know what? We're going to introduce a foreign buyer tax. We're going to introduce a empty home tax. We're going to introduce a speculation tax. And there's all these declarations and all this stuff, and they're taking in hundreds of millions of dollars. That will deter people from buying. And therefore, if that happens, that what happened in 2008 when that happened to us, um, actually 2017, when that happened, sadly, it stopped. It was okay for a while and then actually affected us even more and more. Okay, down slowly, mind you. Okay, number five would be that's more of a microeconomics indicator. So let's just say you live in a city or state or a province where it's heavily dependent on a certain economy. So let's just say in Windsor, where I'm from originally, we were all reliant on the car industry. And when the state, a lot of manufacturers moved their production to Mexico or the States, well, we were all dependent on that job, and we all got laid off, and slowly that job market dried up, and then boom, buyers were not able to buy. People couldn't pay their mortgage. Boom, bunch of people left the city. Okay, it could happen in Calgary. Like that's what happened in Calgary, Fort McMurray, and other places. If you look at that economy, it was heavily dependent on one industry. That is usually why this stuff happens. Why a crash might happen in a specific city where 80% of the employee people are employed by one company. Okay, the last but not least, and it's usually a devastating factor, such as we've seen it here. If you have a coronavirus, or let's just say there's some kind of violent thing happening, let's say a war or some kind of riots or whatever like that. But usually, like these are extreme, devastating events that happen. And again, we've seen it in Vancouver, but it lasted like I was there and I was freaking out, I'll be honest with you guys, for like 3, 4 weeks, and everything was back to normal. In fact, multiple offers happened, and they were even stronger than before. So these are the 6 major indicators of a crash is happening. I don't think, to be honest with you, I have another video that I'm going to make down the road, which kind of shows you why I don't feel like we'll have a crash in Vancouver. We might have a slowdown. You can already start to see that with the government signaling they'll have a cooling off period. I think there might be something there if they push hard. But if it's just a kind of like ABS brakes, they're just trying to pump the brakes and kind of make people kind of second guess themselves before they fully, overbid by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hopefully, it won't have such a big impact. But I can tell you, I'm watching the market all the time, and this is some of the stuff that I think um, might have a adverse effect on housing here in the province. Okay. But anyway, if you have any questions about buying or selling, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help. Thank you for watching my video. Please comment. I'd love to hear your comments. Subscribe and share. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.